6 in the morning and we are about to start, I think, our biggest challenge we've ever faced. We are about to cross back to Australia. It's cyclone season. We have no autopilot. The wind is not supposed to be strong and we don't have enough fuel to get to the finish line. Is that enough? So we're gonna at least try to make it under 6 days, which is a lot with no autopilot. We're gonna have to hand steer 24/7, only the two of us. It's only Cecile and I. Excited, but also a bit stressed. Let's get going.
Alright folks, it's time for us to go. If you missed the last episode, I encourage you to maybe watch it before this one, as we explain in detail how we pick the weather window and most importantly what the window in question has in store for us. But if you need a quick reminder, we are leaving in a rush because of those two low pressure systems that are developing on each side of Australia. We don't know if they will in time turn into a cyclone, so we need to cross and get into a sheltered spot before we have to find out. So here's what we expect. Not much wind at all for the first few days, followed by strong winds toward the end of the crossing. We are also doing this entire crossing without an autopilot, or almost. Our 3 autopilot arms failed, and after running many tests, we still don't understand why. Either there is something wrong with our main unit, which we can't debug without an expert, or another theory would be that something is wrong with the bearing of our tillers, making them physically hard to turn, which the autopilot can handle. Not something that can be investigated or fixed without getting out of the water. Luckily, one of our autopilots seems to work a little bit, although it's very slow and we're not sure it will work for very long. But if the conditions are calm, we could potentially use it a little bit at night. So we'll be doing shifts of 2 hours each during the day, and if we can, use the autopilot from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to allow us to take a full 4 hours of rest each while the other one stays on watch. And we took on board an additional 140 liters of fuel in 35 liters jerrycans. So that brings our total to 376 liters, which, if we assume a consumption of 0.6 liters per mile, gives us a total of 625 nautical miles out of the 730 we have to do.
Day 1 of the trip, Cecile is on the tiller duty. We were supposed to have the current with us and apparently we have it against us. So first hiccup, we've been sailing, we've been motoring for 3-4 hours now and we're already behind schedule. As expected, it never goes exactly as you planned it. You still have land behind, which means we have internet. For how long I don't know, but at least another 5 hours.
Let's talk about Starlink. Until now, we had the global plan that only works around land, perfect for Indonesia. But now we need to upgrade to activate the option to give us 50 gigabytes worth of data on the ocean. Not enough for streaming on YouTube all day long, but to check the forecast and stay in touch with loved ones, it's plenty. That being said, we've heard of a lot of sailors who had their modem suddenly failed, which would be bad if it happened in the middle of the ocean. But those sailors also kept the modem high on deck where it's very humid, whereas we keep ours in the least humid spot of the boat. In addition, we have a spare modem just in case anything happens. So if you decide to only use Starlink for your crossing, just make sure that you are prepared.
It's about 4 in the afternoon and I've changed side to chill because the other side is in the sun. We lost a lot of time today due to that current in the Trial Channel. Thankfully, now that we are out, we are managing to do between 5.5 and 6 knots. Still not very much wind. We have the sails out, but we are pretty much motoring mostly. Hopefully, if we can keep this speed up, then the time we lost this morning won't affect us too much. We are supposed to do an average of 5.5 the whole way, knowing that there is a bit of wind at the end, so we'll probably be doing more. Right now the sea is very calm, there's no swell whatsoever. We still have unlimited internet because we are not very far from land, but that's probably going to be gone in the next couple of hours. Going to be dark within an hour. After that, when we wake up tomorrow, we probably won't see that behind us and there's nothing in front of us. Keeping the right direction when you don't see anything in front that you can point towards is quite difficult. Like, we rely a lot on the chat plotter to see which direction we're going into, but there are a few tricks. Like, if there's cloud in the sky, like there is at the moment, then I can find a cloud that I can point towards. Just need to check that they're not moving too fast and that I don't need to readjust, which I do that probably every 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, right now I am following this little bright fluffy cloud, so let's hope I can see it for a while. First refuel for the night.
First night, it's my shift. It's quite calm. There's no wind. I mean, no wind. It's like 7 knots, almost downwind. So no swell, not moving much. A bit bored. Watching some poker on my computer while I'm cheating. An eventful night. It's only 9 p.m. So an eventful for now. But maybe I jinxed myself.
Well, the night was very calm tonight, so we decided to spare the autopilot for another night and steer by hand the whole night as well. On top of this, we're having some issues with our Starlink activation because we need to change our plan so that we get it on the water, and for some reason it's not activating, it's not letting us access our accounts. So we're having to go back close to land to try and solve the issue. Problem is that we are supposed to avoid this area because of all of the fishing boats. Is another reason to steer by hand because we need to stay very focused on what's in front of us. And luckily it's the first night, so we're not really too tired so far. Unfortunately, we can't really see the stars in the sky, so I don't really have a set point to follow. So I'm really having to only look at the map, which is a bit annoying, but that's what it is. Not much is happening. I'm listening to a bit of music, looking forward to my shift being over, I have to say, but let's keep going.
The sun is finally out. We made it through night 1. It was not a pleasant one because we had a mess up with Starlink. I don't know what happened, but we managed to actually log in on the website. We upgraded our plan, but when we didn't have internet, we decided to make a detour. That's where all the fishermen are. That was a bit stressful. We are not out of the fisherman's zone, but at least it's daylight, so we see them from far away. Let's try to enjoy day 2. Having currents against us. We had it all day yesterday inland, and then it was better when we went on the open water. Now again, half a knot to a knot right in our nose. So quite annoying when we are trying to make an average of 5.5 knots. Not easy. Please be with us for once. Come on. We are seeing fishermen everywhere. This one, and there's like 4 of them in front of us.
One extremely annoying shift later.
Good morning. Do you have a good night? I mean, a good nap?
Yeah, I slept for a couple hours. That's it.
Yep.
Alright. Get out.
What a good news? Or bad news?
Good news?
It's no good news. Don't give me hope. Bad news is there's currents against us.
Oh, damn it.
Me and the ballers won't pan out again. Me and the ballers won't pan out again. Break out your bad, baby, break out your bad. Break out your bad, baby, break out your bad.
So a little bit of an update before actually go to bed. The wind is not supposed to be as strong as it was when we looked at it at first on the 11th and 12th. So basically we were rushing to be in Thursday Island before day 6 because the wind was supposed to be very strong. But apparently we have an extra day or 2. What we're gonna do, because we are burning way too much fuel, we're gonna use the fuel for the first 3 days, and then we're gonna either just put the engine very slow or try to put a sail up. But basically we have 3 days of motoring, and then we're gonna try to sail as much as we can. Even if we are doing 3 knots, we are gonna sail.
Well, I'm glad we didn't go through here by night because we are surrounded by fishing boats. But we were following them on marine traffic, so we kind of knew they were around here. Kind of made sure that we wouldn't reach this zone by night. We are progressing. Again, not as fast as we would have wanted to, but there's absolutely no wind to help us so far. But at least there's also no swell. Quite calm days. We can do pretty much what we want on the boat, aside from having to chill, obviously. That's the kind of moment that makes us regret not having an autopilot, because this passage would have been so different with an autopilot. We would have been watching shows, enjoying. I could have done some video editing. Would have been perfect. But hey, that's what it is, right? I think refreshments are on the way. What are you bringing me?
Apple juice.
Apple
Fresh
juice. Yay! Nice. I'm happy. Ooh.
Shasha.
And some shashas. That's the Indonesian equivalent of M&M's.
I know a place where we can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know where we gonna go.
It's 1:30 in the afternoon. We've taken a shower. It was very nice and refreshing. Jan's having lunch now. I just had my lunch. We've created a little house tree, I don't know how you would call that, to protect us from the sun, because obviously like this period from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the worst. Progress wise, there's still no wind, so we're still 100% motoring, but we don't have the current against us anymore. So we're doing a decent speed of 5.5, because we cut some corners during the night and kind of went in the middle of the fishing boat zone. I think our average at the moment is just under 5.2 knots. Supposed to average 5.5, but 5.2 is good enough. Not much to report. It's a bit boring, to be honest, but I'd rather it's boring than drama happens.
Is it time for a little break?
Yeah, it's Apero time. So we've got some drinks, some nibbles, and we're gonna watch a show. Sunset is in about an hour and a half, so it gives us time to enjoy before we start the night.
But when I said break, there's no break. We are still chilling.
No, there's no break.
The sun is getting down, so it's not as hot as it was today.
Rather it's hot than it's raining, so not complaining here.
Nope.
Please, universe, I am not complaining, okay? It was hot, but we managed.
Cheers.
Night 2 is starting and there's barely no current, still no swell, so it's super easy to maintain the bearing. So we decided to give this guy a try.
Night 2 and it's 10:30, and we've decided for the second night we are trying this autopilot for a little bit. So we're gonna leave it for 3.5 hours, then give it an hour of rest, and then put it back for 3.5 hours. So we each have 4 hours of shift. It will be on my shift for 3.5 hours. Then I do half an hour of hand steering. Jan does the same at the start of his shift, and then 3.5 hours of autopilot as well. I don't know if that's necessary or if we could use it for longer than that, whatever. It's just like not knowing. If we overuse it straight from the start and it burns again, it would be tough. So we'd rather use it very little at the beginning and use it more at the end. We'll see how long it lasts.
It's my shift. Until it's resting a little bit. There is a little bit of wind, like 5 knots, but it's almost in our nose, so I had to change the course a little bit to have a close home reach. We're doing 5 knot speed, not ideal, especially because we are not going in the exact right direction, but little to no wind the whole day, so a lot of motoring, now burning more fuel, but moving in the right direction. The sun is coming up. That means it's the end of night 2. The wind is quite low at the moment, and we have big current against us. Yeah, at least 1 knot. It's gonna be the case all morning, so yeah, gonna be a slow morning. The fuel situation, we burned 140 liters in 2 days, so 48 hours. 1/3 of what we've got. So I think we can get it to the end, because we've done 240 nautical miles actually. If we follow that path, we have enough fuel to make it to the end. But you never know, like this morning against the currents, we are moving very slowly and burning fuel. So it would be nice to see some wind, not too much, just a little bit, so we can sail and put the spinnaker would be amazing.
good news is though that the autopilot really worked well for the entire night, allowed us to get a bit of rest. Oh, and the good thing is that we saw a total of 0 fishing boats during the night, so no net whatsoever. It was a very quiet night, which we like. Let's hope the next ones are like this as well. To see what was above the boat.
Yep.
Right.
Well, he did. I've never seen a dolphin jump that high.
No. Nice morning surprise with the visit of dolphins. I'm sorry I woke you up for that. Sadly, they didn't stay because we're not going fast enough, so that's probably not fun for them. But oh yeah, you can go back to bed.
Yep.
Breakfast, that's super easy because you just have to mix the same quantity of rolled oats and milk and leave it overnight, and then the next day you've got this nice breakfast. We're adding some fruit and delicious, very nutritious as well, so it's good because it's hard to eat when we are underway. Looks like we are getting very close to those fishing nets, but actually avoiding them. It's difficult to say because obviously they show up on the AIS as we get closer. We're going there by day, so try to avoid them, of course. But so far it looks like we are being lucky. Today has a very different feel from the other days. I don't know if it's because of those fishing boats or because of the strong currents. That means that we're only doing 3-point-something knots, or maybe it's because we can see a lot of clouds in the sky and we know we're gonna get some rain. I don't know. Anyways, today's very different. The mood is not quite what it was yesterday, and maybe it's also because it's day 3 and we are getting a bit sick of this.
Just to clarify, on the AIS, we can't really tell the difference between a boat and the marker of a net, so this is what is stressful mostly, but not as stressful as what's to come.
What's happening here?
The engine stopped, and I think it's because it's not getting any fuel anymore. So I'm just gonna try and plug it to a different one. I can hear some air. Yeah, I think we need to replace this. We have spare ones. I'll try and I put a cable tie. It's working, right?
Yeah.
We got so stressed because we're only using the engine, there's no wind. So if one is already bad, then we're only relying on the other one, and we don't want to run it the whole way there or it's going to overheat. Because here we are running one engine 2 hours, then the other one 2 hours. So we are swapping them.
And you have some doubts about the fuel quality?
Yeah, and I'm a bit skeptical about the fuel they gave us in Chual, especially the jerry cans they gave us the fuel in. Yeah, I had some doubts. So yeah, looks like that was the issue. Woo. Yeah, when I pressed the pump, I could feel the pump was not hard. That means there's no fuel in there. So usually you have to pump to get fuel back in, and it was still not hard. So my guess was the fuel was not getting into the pump. Then when I pressed the pump, I could hear tiny air leak in the terminals to get into the fuel. So yeah, that's why I thought the issue was that. I'm actually quite relieved. All right, I'm gonna put a cable tie to make sure that one doesn't go out.
I think the ball is supposed to come back up when it's not fitted, which isn't the case here, so dodgy. That over there, my friend, is a squall. The question is it coming for us? Alright, conditions have drastically improved. We are not fighting a current anymore. It's a bit on our side, so it's not affecting our speed so much. We're doing over 5.5, which is great. Sun is out, there's a tiny little bit bit of wind, which means that we can motor sail. It's not perfect, but at least it's something. But we are also surrounded by squalls. So far we seem to be dodging them, but let's be honest, we're not going to dodge them forever. We are bound to get one at some point. Fisherman wise, we've encountered quite a few boats this morning, and we can see nets on the AIS, but nothing to report. We've managed to squeeze around and not touch anything. We are heading into some more fishing boats according to marine traffic. We should be there just before 9 time, and after that we should be okay, again according to marine traffic, and assuming they all have the AIS. But you know what they say about assume.
Assumption is the mother of all f***ups.
Well, looks like we've dodged it. Bye bye.
Pretty lucky so far. Been dodging all of those.
Not exactly the best conditions for the Apero tonight.
No,
We've got everything prepared, but the wind is going crazy. The boat is getting difficult to steer, and yeah, light rain, so not the best.
yeah, we are having our first squall. Might even furl a little bit the head.
And so we face the first squall. Alone in the vast expanse of the sea, these squalls bring high winds, relentless rain, and the threat of thunderstorms. Hardly a safe haven, right?
I don't think I can do this anymore.
Tune in next week to see how we endure and discover if we can complete our journey.